10 years from today, Lisa Schneider will trade in her office job to become the leader of a pack of dogs. As the owner of her own dog rescue, that is. A second act made possible by the reskilling courses Lisa's taking now with AARP to help make sure her income lives as long as she does. And she can finally run with the big dogs. And the small dogs, who just think they're big dogs. That's why the younger you are, the more you need AARP. Learn more at aarp.org/skills.
You open the fridge, there's nothing there. So what's it gonna be? Greasy pizza? Sad drive-thru burgers? Dish by Blue Apron is for nights like that. These are the pre-made meals of your dreams. At least 20 grams of protein, no artificial flavors or colors, no chopping, no cleanup, no guilt. Keep the flavor. Ditch the subscription. Get 20% off your first 2 orders with code APRON20. Terms and conditions apply. Visit blueapron.com/terms for more.
Hello everyone and welcome to How Are the Podcast. It's Gav and you join us for our match preview as Sunderland take on Real Betis at the Stadium of Light on Saturday afternoon. We've got a little interview coming up in a bit with, you would never believe this, but there is a Blyth Betis supporters branch, and I managed to speak to Alan from that branch, and he's a fantastic fella, so we've got that chat coming up in a bit. But for now, you've got just me and Jonny, the plebs, for this one. Hello, mate.
All right, Gav. Lovely, positive introduction there, as always.
Yeah. Well, you know, people have got to make do with us. They're probably sick of hearing me this week, and you're going to have to get used to it if you are sick of it, because Chris is on his holidays, so it's just me and a few of the other lads this week. But anyways, we've got a game this afternoon, Jonny, and it's Sunderland's first at the Stadium of Light. We're taking on a really good La Liga opposition in Real Betis, a team who got to a European final last year, finished, I think, 6th in La Liga, so you know, have done pretty well to be where they are and have quite a talented squad. Have got Manuel Pellegrini as manager, who, of course, has won just about everything in world football. So are going to prove to be a stern test for us. And I think at this stage of pre-season, that's probably what you need, given they're, again, like every other team we've played so far, they're about a week or two ahead of us in their preparations because their season starts next week. So a good test, I think, and one we probably need because... you know, the lads have really up to this point in pre-season have played 45 minutes here, maybe an hour. Some players haven't even played at all through injuries and things. We've got new players obviously coming in. So I think it's that natural step up, isn't it, that we probably need at this stage.
It is. Like you say, a step up in quality of the opposition. That's the first and foremost, because you can only beat what's put in front of you, you know. So if you're playing a team who's, you know, several divisions below, like Gateshead and South Shields at the start of pre-season or some of the other games we've had, you know you're not going to get the players properly put through the paces. It's just natural. Whereas this, bit of a step up there. And as well, I think just playing at the Stadium of Light makes a big difference. You know, that's your home ground. That's where you're going to be playing the majority of your football this season. So,
you know, when I was down there the other day for that Jimmy Montgomery thing, the pitch is absolutely immaculate. Like, unbelievable. I was looking at it, I said to Craig, I was like, wouldn't you love to have a game on that, man? It's just unbelievable how nice it is. So there's that as well, you know, they get to run out on that pitch and touch grass for the first time and see how good it is.
Yeah, exactly. And so I'm sure that'll help get them just that little bit extra motivation for the game because you're in front of all your home fans. Well, I'm saying all your home fans. Might not quite be a sellout.
Yeah. Well, I think half the ground's actually shut for the renovation work still. So they've only opened the west side of the ground, I think. Because when we did that walk around, the east side of the ground, still a lot going on in the concourse and things like that. Toilets and all the rest of it, in the bars and things. So, you know, they are only opening half of the ground for the game. But I think they would have anyways, wouldn't it? Because it's not the case of Sunderland. We tend to sell out the big games and stuff. But when it comes to friendlies and cup games and things, people aren't so bothered.
No, especially when as well you'll have families off on summer holidays and you'll have, you know, all that kind of jazz. So, if anyone was stupid enough to think we were going to see 47,000, 48,000 for this game, then I'm sorry, but you're going to be disappointed. But yeah, I think even despite the fact that half the ground's shut and what have you, it's going to be a better atmosphere than a lot of the pre-season games. So hopefully that's married up with a bit more intensity on the pitch and hopefully as strong a team as possible, and might even see a few new signings in the 11. You never know.
Yeah, well, I don't know if Robin Roofs is actually available or not, but I think if he is, then he will play some part, and that would be good. I think Ronaldo is supposed to be available, depending on how he's getting on. Apparently, he's not injured or anything. He's just catching up on fitness, and it depends on his training load and things. But he could be involved, and I'm really looking forward to seeing what he can do. Wilson Isidore, I think, might play some part. I think it just depended on how he got on in training the last couple of days. I think the other updates that we got were that Chris Rigg and Anthony Patterson, the aim for them is for them to play in that game in Germany next week. So they could be available for that one. But yeah, otherwise, we might have a few, and you don't know with Mark Dew. I don't know if that's actually going to be announced and sealed and everything by then, but I'm not so sure that he would play, even if that was announced really late on or even, on Saturday or whatever. I can't imagine he'll play a part, but he'd probably be there. He'd probably be there in the crowd watching the game and stuff. So, you're right, there is a chance for us to see a few new faces. And I think importantly, because, and I've made this point a few times this week, we've got this game, we've got the game in Germany, which is probably just going to be a second string because it's the day before the final game, which is on the Sunday against Rayo Vallecano. So this is really our first proper chance to put a team out which we see as starting against West Ham and going, right, lads, we need to get something going here. We need patterns of play work, and we need to try and get sort of 70, 80 minutes out the majority of you. Some might even get 90 minutes to really work up that fitness. So there's definitely going to be some sort of step up, isn't there, in terms of intensity and the way we approach the game.
Oh, 100%. And I think this is the first of the pre-season games where you can legitimately say that we do need to see something of a performance. It's not just a case of gathering fitness anymore. We're close enough to the competitive stuff starting that they do, like you say, the patterns of play, you need to at least be able to see them developing. So I'm not saying we need to rock up and demolish them, and stroke 4 past them by half time or something, because again, if anyone's expecting that, you might be a little bit disappointed. But we need to be intense pressing, and we need to be seeing the first sort of green shoots of partnerships between players beginning to look like they can develop, and they need to be singing from the same hymn sheet. So you'd hope that we can see a bit more creativity in the final third, a few more chances. The defence obviously still isn't the finished article yet in terms of recruitment. You just mentioned Roofs. I mean, I'd be shocked if he's able to play more than half of the game at this stage. I know he's only a keeper, so the fitness levels aren't the same concern, but still, you don't tend to parachute somebody in a couple of days before friendly and have them play the majority. But you'd expect certainly the midfield and the front line, they look something like you'd imagine they're going to look for the majority of the season now in terms of the personnel. So those are the areas of the pitch, especially where I'm looking at it and thinking, actually, I do want to see something now. The game against Hearts or whatever, you can brush it off because it's pre-season, it doesn't matter. And still, the result doesn't matter. But now I do think the performance has become significantly more important than they would have been.
So what does that team look like then that we think, might start this game and potentially start the West Ham game? I'm thinking, obviously, Roofs has come in, and apparently, or Roofs, I'm going to have to get used to how you say that. I think it's Roofs.
I think it's Roofs as well.
Yeah. Roofs. It's going to be one of them. We'll go with Roofs. So with Robin Roofs, obviously, we've signed him for a lot of money. Yes, very inexperienced, new to the group, but that's all the more reason to try and get him in, I think, if he can play. So, probably him in goal. We'll go with, I presume, Ronaldo at left back if he's available. And given this is his first game, he might only get 45 minutes, but still be a good chance for him to get out onto the pitch. Trey Hume at right back, obviously. Ballard and Sealt, because we don't have anybody else, would be the centre-half pairing. But then it's the midfield where it gets interesting, isn't it? Because Granit Xhaka's probably going to play. And I can't wait for that.
I hope so. I hope he plays every game, and if he doesn't.
Yeah, but we've got Granit Xhaka, Enzo Lefebvre, Noah Siddiqui, Habib Diarra, Dan Neil. I mean, the choices are there. Alan Brown, if you count him. Poor Alan, bless him. He's done no wrong, has he? But he must feel so out of place at the minute.
Look, he's a nice bloke, I'm sure, but he's no Granit Xhaka, is he?
No. But still, that midfield, even if you take out, I didn't even mention Rig there, but that's mainly because we're expecting to not play this one. But you put him in there, it's so many options. But I think you're probably going to see the midfield three in these next two games that will definitely start against West Ham. We've had a flavour of it. We've had a flavour of what we think it could be. But there was a point Chris made on a pod the other day, which I thought was interesting. And again, it's my turn to put that Chris up for making an interesting point. He made a point about how almost Siddiqui and Tolby are viewed as projects to a degree because of their age.
For the future.
Yeah. And, that makes me think that while Siddiqui, I think, is going to end up being for me, actually, I think Siddiqui's been the most impressive of all the players we've signed so far. Mm-hmm. But I've just got a feeling it's going to be Xhaka, Lefebvre, Diarra, and that's what we'll see in the Betis game. I don't know what you think, whether that's kind of the way you see it shaping up or not. But to me, that seems the most balanced and the most likely. And I mean, given we've signed Granit Xhaka, he's not going to sit on the bench for that West Ham game, and he's been playing in pre-season as well. So he's not coming in and coming in cold. He's actually been playing games in pre-season for Leverkusen. So he should really just be picking up from where he's left off, right? But what do you think about the midfield and kind of where it heads into this game?
Well, I certainly agree with you that Diarra, Xhaka, Lefebvre is kind of the strongest midfield on paper. And barring injuries and form and stuff, you would expect that to be the midfield that we're picking more often than not in the most important games of the season. So I also agree as well that I think that probably is what's going to start this game. Siddiqui is an interesting one, though, because I imagine that he probably was brought in with more of an eye on the future, but, he has looked really good in pre-season. Now, yes, obviously it's only pre-season, etc., weak opposition, what have you. But if he gets, because he'll get minutes at least this season, because the middle of midfield, it's such a physical position. We're going to need to use all of them at points, from Rig all the way through. So he's going to get minutes, and if he can put performances in that are anything near what he's shown in pre-season, there's no reason that he can't actually force himself into the reckoning as a genuine option. So I'll be really interested to see if we're right and he's benched, or if we're wrong and he gets a start, because I think that's quite a potentially interesting bit of selection there. But then other than that, I think going forward as well, further up the pitch, obviously Isidor's been injured through bits of pre-season, but I think, again, there's been quite consistent selections there as well. Like when it's been the stronger teams, it's been Talbi, Adingra, Mayenda. I'd be shocked if it's anything other than that again. Partly due to lack of options. Maybe Isidore will get a start, but I would suspect we'll see him off the bench purely because he's been missing for a while, so no need to risk him from the start. But again, the front three will be an interesting one, because no secret we've been after at least one more with the Loriente deal that never ended up happening, plus potentially due. So that's one where we've seen settled selections, but I wonder how settled that will remain over the next few weeks, if you know what I mean. I think that could see a bit of upheaval there, couldn't we?
Yeah, definitely. I think that's certainly not set in stone. And you wonder as well what promises we made to Chelsea about you, and whether it's been done on the proviso. Look, he's going to play a lot of football and what have you. But I think even just at the start of the season, you've got to go with Eliza Mayenda because of where he left off. He's earned this. He's earned that opportunity to be starting, leading the line for Sunderland in the Premier League. And yeah, I think whilst pre-season performances don't mean much, for strikers, if you can get some goals in pre-season, it's going to set you up nicely. So hopefully Mayenda can get amongst the goals in this one and get himself off and running. But yeah, I'm quite happy with I'm happy with that front three, to be honest. I thought Talbi and Adingra linked up pretty well in that last game at Hull. The time they were on the pitch together, they worked well together, and Talbi set up Adingra's goal, and it's nice to see those connections being made. But I wouldn't be completely adverse to seeing Patrick Roberts against West Ham. I like Patrick Roberts. I think he's a good player. You're not going to get goals from him, but he does things other players can't. So you might see him, and I wouldn't be surprised if that's the case, where we see Roberts on the right and Adingra on the left, and then Mayenda through the middle. Just so it's not a completely unfamiliar kind of attacking spine there, because Mayenda and Roberts linked up pretty well towards the end of the season. But
yeah, but that as well, I think Roberts is getting really underrated as an option, because you're right, he does things that other people in the squad just can't do. The way that he gets us up the pitch and can just carry the ball for such a distance sometimes. Yeah, he's not the quickest, and yeah, he's not the best finisher. And not the best finisher might be a bit polite based on the last couple of seasons of stats, but that in the Premier League, when we're going to be struggling for territory and possession a lot of the time, presumably, having somebody who can just release the pressure valve and get you up the pit, it can be worth its weight in gold sometimes. So I would expect Roberts to certainly play a part today.
Yeah. Well, we might as well move into our opposition fan section of the show. I got a chance to chat with Alan McLean from Blyth Betis Pena Betica, is the name of their supporters group, of which there are a few. And Alan is actually, he's Scottish, but he's lived in the northeast, used to live in Sunderland. And right at the end of the chat, I'll keep this a surprise, but there's a nice little bit there about his links to Sunderland, and you won't expect it, put it that way. But I had a great conversation with Alan, and here it is. He's going to tell us all about Real Betis. Right, so we're joined by Alan, who is from, and I'm going to get this right, hopefully, it's the Blyth Betis Pena Betica branch. Is that right, Alan?
That is correct, yes.
Perfect. We did rehearse that a little bit before before we hit record, though. How are you, mate? How's it going?
I'm doing great. Really looking forward to the match tomorrow. Really am.
Yeah.
Been a long time coming.
It's when was the last time you got to see the team play? Were you at Coventry? Because I know they've just played Coventry.
No,
right?
I was intending to go to Coventry, but when the Sunderland match came up, that was a winner. I had to go there instead. Yes.
So tell me a little bit about this, because I mean, like I said to you, kind of before we were recording and stuff, I was thinking, I wonder if Betis have got any, UK based fans or fan groups and stuff. And when the first one that I found was a branch based in Blyth, I have to say I was a little bit surprised by that. I mean, the comparisons are obvious to me, right? Two teams are playing green and white. Is that where the link comes from? Absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, a friend of mine and I, Simon Needham, we started up this branch probably about 12 years ago, both Blyth Spartan supporters, and we both loved Spanish football. And Simon found out, I don't know how, that Real Betis always put out a hand of friendship to any other team that plays in green and white. So we got in touch, said, we play in green and white here at Croft Park. We'd be interested in making a link. And the next minute we formed Blyth Betis Pena Betica number 402, and we've been going strong ever since.
Brilliant. And how many members have you got? Is it just you two guys, or are we growing strong?
No, there's a few of us, a few of the Blyth fans there. We have on one of the boards around the pitches at Croft Park, we've got our own board publicising our Pena. So there's a lot of supporters, and there'd be a couple of dozen or so.
Oh, well, brilliant. And is there many going to the game tomorrow? I know there's probably going to be a bit more of a congregation from elsewhere in the UK too.
Well, it's been the nearest one for a wee while, because in the last 2 or 3 years we've been to the likes of Brentford, we've been to Derby County, so this is very, very handy for the Blyth lads. Yes.
Yeah. Were you at the game? I remember being at a game was in Bishop Auckland, I think, maybe 10, 11 years ago, between Sunderland and Real Betis. It was played, I think, at Bishop Auckland's ground. I don't know if you were at that one or not.
I wasn't, because I was in Spain.
Ironically.
On holiday, which was so ironic, because I wish I got to that one as well. But I'll get there tomorrow, that's for sure.
Oh, well, fantastic. I'm hoping that there's going to be a lot of Betis fans there. And, we don't really, at Sunderland, we don't really seem to embrace, home friendlies particularly much, but it makes it a lot better, particularly if there's a bit of an atmosphere, if there's fans in attendance. So I am hoping that there's a little bit more of an atmosphere, and it's going to make for more of an occasion than it rather being played at pre-season pace.
Yeah, I hope so. I mean, Betty fans are very loyal, very traditional, very friendly. We like going away to other matches. We don't do much in Spain either. But yeah, we're looking forward to that. There's probably maybe going to be 150, 200, which is not bad considering how far Sevilla is away from the Stadium of Light. But by the same token, we have also got Real Betis Pena in Edinburgh, London, Belfast, and Donegal, of all places.
Right. Brilliant.
So we're hoping a few of those will get over as well. But it should be a good time.
Just the Coventry game that you've just played on Wednesday night. Then, I mean, you said you weren't there, but I presume you've heard about the game, seen the highlights, and all the rest of it, being able to watch some of the footage. Yeah. So how's pre-season going for Betis?
Not too bad.
I mean, we've played quite a lot of friendlies.
Yeah, we're playing quite a lot of friendlies against a whole variety of teams, and we played Cordoba recently, just in the last few days. And what we do is we build up quite a few friendlies beforehand because we got a big squad, a very big squad. And, as far as the Coventry game was, we had a great first half, but couldn't put the ball in the back of the net. But I was impressed because we didn't quite play our second 11, if you like. But there was a lot of some of the new signings there and so forth. So I was impressed with the performance, and as pre-season goes, it was a good one.
Yeah. Well, Coventry were in the semi-finals of the playoffs, obviously, with Sunderland, so would have given a decent account of themselves. And yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Like I say, our pre-season's kind of ramping up from this point, I think, because we've got this game. We've got a game next Friday, I think, or Saturday, in Germany. And then the following day, we play again at the Stadium of Light against another Spanish team in Rio Vallecano. So Sunderland, at this point, appear to be at least ramping things up a little bit. So it could be quite a good challenge for both teams, because I've just looked there as well. The Betis season actually starts weekend after this, doesn't it, with the opening game away at Malaga. So are you expecting Betis to, possibly go full strength and try and go as close to the team that will start the season?
Well, I would like to think so, because I think what it would appear is that Pellegrini has maybe used the Coventry game as a sort of starting point, and then he'll bring in the likes of Isco and other members of the team that weren't there at Coventry. But, I mean, Pellegrini's a great manager, and Betis don't have a huge amount of money, so he's done really well over the years to build up a good squad. And if you look at the last 3 seasons, we finished 7th, and 6th. And last season, we were, dare I say, inches away from Champions League, maybe partly because of the introduction of Anthony as the on-loan winger from Man U, who seemed to come out of himself and do very well from us. But no, we keep getting better and better. It sort of reminds me a wee bit, just when you mention things, of the days when I watched Sunderland, when I lived over in the northeast, and Peter Reid was the manager, and he was getting Sunderland up to 7th place in the league and gradually working his way up. So there's a sort of bit of a coincidence there for me. Yeah,
and obviously you've just mentioned they finished very high in La Liga the last couple of seasons, considering. Yes, so obviously going to prove to be quite a tough challenge for Sunderland, which I think we probably need at this stage.
I think so. And that's what's the sort of opposition that we can provide is the sort of opposition Sunderland want to be up against, not only for the quality of players we have, but I mean we've got players that we've been in Europe for the last 3 seasons. We only lost out to Chelsea in the final of the UEFA Conference last season, so we're coming on great guns. So it'll be a very interesting match to watch.
Are you expecting Betis to go on and have another good season? Like, is it now is the bar set? We are a team who challenge for Europe. We are a team who challenge for the top 6.
Yes, there's a number of reasons for that. I mean, we've been doing it regularly, and the more you do it regularly, the better you get at it. We've also been, we made a couple of sales over the closed season there, players that some people thought we might want to keep, Johnny Cardoso being one of them, and Jesus Rodriguez, the youngster. And you think, are they the right people to be letting go? But then Pellegrini's bought better players. So as long as you're always moving forward and moving up, you're in with a shout. And we're expecting better things this season.
You mentioned his name a few times there. Manuel Pellegrini is the manager of Betis, yes. And he's somebody who I'm sure fans of English football will be more aware of, having managed Manchester City, West Ham, off the top of my head. I think that's it. But how's he gone down over there? Is he, because he was derided to a degree in England, wasn't he? Kind of as a more somber, maybe dour type of bloke, but has achieved a lot of success as a coach over his time.
Yeah, and he's done the same with us. He picked us up when really we were heading downwards and heading towards relegation. And as I say, with very little money, he's transformed the team, and the team keeps getting better and better. And I also feel that players put a lot of trust in him. Another major factor is the Real Betis fans, because our motto is "Mucho Betis manque pierda," okay, in Spanish. So what that means is, come on, Betis, even if you lose. So we don't get on the backs of players when things are going wrong, or the backs of managers, with the odd exception or two. But we have that environment which helps players bond, and it helps, and the manager is the one who's made that all happen. So no, we love Pellegrini.
So who are the key men to watch out for tomorrow if Sunderland fans are hoping to pick out a couple of superstars from this team? Who are the ones that we should be looking out for?
Well, Isco is a fabulous player. I mean, he had not the best of times overall at Real Madrid. He came to us and he just took off again. Sadly, he had a very bad injury as soon as he joined us, but he's got over that. And he's now even back in the Spanish national team. So he's a fantastic player. Lo Celso, great midfield player. He's a good general of the midfield. He's very good
Former
too.
Tottenham player, is that right?
Yes, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
And we've just got another young lad through Garcia, who's come through. He scored at Coventry, a cracking goal. He's just come up from our, from the underage teams. He's very good too. We've got Adrian, the goalkeeper, who I'm glad to see, because he was with Betis. He went to West Ham, went to Liverpool for years. Now he's back. He is a very good goalkeeper and a good marshaller of defences. And Marc Bartra, ex-Barcelona. So, yeah, we've got some key players, but also some Fornals from West Ham, another very good player. So, yeah, good selection. We've got a big squad.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing some of these names that stand out because I'm aware of them. So, what are you hoping for from this game and what you're expecting? Like I said, your season starts next week, so you're slightly ahead of Sunderland in terms of preparations. And I know it's a friendly, we can't get too carried away either way with friendly games, but Sunderland fans are hoping, to see their team put on a bit of a show. I presume it's the same for you.
Exactly. And I think that two teams that will suit playing against each other, because obviously Sunderland have got bigger ambitions now, which I'm more than delighted to hear about. And to be fair, when I lived as I said before, when I lived in the Northeast, I wasn't a stranger to the Stadium of Light. And I remember watching a good few games there and supporting Sunderland as I went along. So a draw would suit me tomorrow, let me tell you. It would. But both teams are aspiring to go places, and I would like to see it will be a good game. There's plenty of skill available from both sides and effort, and I think it will be a very enjoyable game.
Well, we'll wait and see, Alan. And just before you go, you did mention something to your fair, which I thought would be cool to talk about. You said you do have some long-seated links with the one and only Bobby Kerr. Do you want to tell everybody a little bit about that?
Indeed, I did. Right. Well, although I may not look it, I'm not far off Bobby's age. And we both went to Leavenvale Primary School near Balloch on the banks of Loch Lomond. And we both played for our primary school teams. We went to the Vale of Leven Academy, played for the secondary teams, went to Dumbarton Castle Amateurs. We played there for teams, the under-16s. We both got trials for Sunderland. And then that's where our football careers went one way and the other. I remember standing at a bus stop in the Vale of Leven when Bobby must have been 15, 16, and he was telling me he'd just been signed by Sunderland. And I said, oh, that's a coincidence. I was down for a trial in Sunderland and they rejected me. But there we go. I really wasn't that good, Gavin. I really wasn't. But he was a genius from the age of 7 or 8.
Yeah, well, things could have been different. You could have been the captain of Sunderland at Wembley, yeah?
Well, I'm not quite so sure about that. That wee fella was a genius. He really was. Absolute genius. And it was a joy to watch the cup final against Leeds. I remember it vividly, and a legend, real legend.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Alan, thank you very much. I hope you enjoy your day at the Stadium Light seeing your team, and fingers crossed it's a good day out regardless of the result, and you guys get to enjoy seeing your team.
Thanks so much, and I'm looking forward to meeting up with some of the Sunderland fans at the Fans Museum. Planning to go there and meet up with a few of the guys. We're very friendly, Betty fans, so it'd be lovely to see you all. And thanks very much.
Yeah, so if anybody wants to get down to the Fan Museum ahead of kick-off, you will spot Alan and the rest of the crew in there having a beer or two in the chat.
You will indeed.
Yeah. Well, thank you very much, Alan. Appreciate it.
Okay, Gavin.
And that was Alan McLean from Blyth Betis Pena Betica. And they said, of course, if anybody wants to, go and join them in the Fan Museum before the game. There will be a lot of Betis fans in there. From what I estimate, there could be around 150 Betis fans, Jonny, who are going to be in attendance from the various UK branches. So they are going to be in the Fan Museum before the game. And like Alan said, they're a friendly bunch. So if you want to pop in and have a pint and have a chat and hear about their story, then get yourself along to the Fan Museum this afternoon. Alan gave me a little bit of insight there, Jonny, about the quality that Betis have got. And to be honest, I hadn't realised how good they actually were. You go through the squad list, they've got a lot of players who've played in England, actually, which could be quite interesting because when you're preparing for a Premier League game, you're playing against a team who's full of Premier League players or ex-Premier League players, then it's handy. But they've got Hector Bellerin, Diego Llorente, Marc Bartra, who I think used to play for Barcelona.
Correct.
Pablo Fornals, who used to be at West Ham. They've got Adrian, who used to be at West Ham. They've got Giovanni Lo Celso, who used to be at Tottenham. They've got Mark Roca, who I think played for Leeds, if I remember rightly.
Yeah, I think you're right.
I think Diego Llorente, who I mentioned before, he played at Leeds, didn't he? And then Isco is the captain, former Real Madrid midfielder, quality footballer who played for Spain. Junior Firpo's just signed for them from Leeds, so he's used to Sunderland. He was in a promotion battle with us last season. So, when they reel off that, and I've only named probably a third of the squad there, but they've got a lot of ex-Premier League footballers there. So, whilst, yes, they are a Spanish team, yes, they are a La Liga team, they could be a good, useful test for us heading into the Premier League because, like I say, a lot of players there have played in the Prem.
Really, really technical players as well.
Yeah.
Sometimes you think of ex-Premier League players maybe more for the physicality and stuff, and that's what a lot of people associate with the Premier League when you're trying to work out, is such and such a player going to adapt? Oh, well, can he keep with the physicality? But these are a much different proposition because, you've just rattled off the names. Some really, really good careers in there. Yeah. Like you say, ex-Real Madrid, and they were in the Conference League final last season against Chelsea, and they had a really good run through that tournament as well. They knocked out some farmers, but they knocked out some decent sides as well. And it'll be interesting to see how we cope with a team with so many technicians in it. I think it'll be good in a sense because they'll be really, really good at keeping the ball, which sounds dead simplistic, but I think playing against a team who'll be that comfortable in possession and able to, to kind of keep us at arm's length when they want to, it'll be pretty close to what we'll see from plenty of Prem teams this season as well, where, again, and we saw it last season in the Championship, we don't control possession in games. It's just not the way that we play.
Yeah.
So then against Betis, you would imagine it's going to be like almost the extreme end of that spectrum, which is we don't try and keep the ball. They do, and they're bloody good at it. So, we'll see how we can cope with that. Obviously, again, the caveat being that it's still a pre-season game, so the level of intensity is not going to mirror a competitive match, but it is going to be it's certainly a step up from what we've seen. So I'm really, really interested to see how the actual game pans out, as well as I'm looking forward to having a few beers and hopefully not getting rained on this afternoon.
Yeah. Playing a top 6 La Liga team who are several weeks ahead of us in the pre-season and probably going to be taking this game a little bit more seriously than we would because they're playing a league game next week. I'm not going to get too carried away regardless of the result. I mean, if we beat them and it's a resounding win, like a 3 or 4-0 win, which I doubt's going to happen, but still, imagine we did that, then we probably are going to come on here and be a little bit giddy, aren't we? But even in defeat, you can't take pre-season games too seriously, as we always say, and let's just see what happens. I'm not going to get too carried away either way. It's just a chance to get back to the stadium, isn't it? I'm a bit like you. I'm just looking forward to getting back in there, having a pint and getting a feel for the place again. It's it's been a while, hasn't it? It's been a while since that Coventry game back in May.
I know, and after leaving on such a high from the end of that Coventry game, all I think about when I think of the Stadium of Light now is that moment. So I'm like, yeah, get us back in, hook that straight back into my veins, please and thank you.
Yeah, and then you walk back in and there's like 10,000 fans there, not 48,000. And
yeah. And they come out playing
a bit of realisation there.
Yeah, they'll come out playing walking football speed. And then we go 3-0 down in the first 25 minutes and we're all like, oh, actually, I wish we just remembered the Coventry game instead of coming here.
Yeah, well, we'll see what happens, mate. We'll be back with a reaction pod, I think, after the game. I haven't even arranged it yet, but we will be back. We'll be back to chat about the game, and that'll be out probably this afternoon, later on in the evening. And yeah, we've got plenty coming and plenty before this one on the Howie the Podcast feed, so make sure you catch up with anything you've missed this week. There's loads, some great interviews with some great people on the feeds there, and lots of transfer stuff. So let's hope that next week keeps us as busy as this last one has, because it has been absolutely manic. 2 pods a day, transfers coming out the wazoo, loads to talk about, and games mixed into it too. I mean, not complaining though, John. It's been quite good, hasn't it? Just having lots to look forward to, especially when I've got mates who are mags and they're having the worst week ever. So yeah, it's been nice. Let's hope we have another good week, but hopefully a couple of wins as well to take into the next week, or a win, and then heading into the week next week, we've got a couple more games to come with a little bit more riding on them in terms of the start of the season.
Aye, a win and then a couple of more Fabrizio here we goes would just set us up nicely going into the West Ham game, wouldn't it?
It would indeed, mate. Well, thank you very much for joining us, bud. Are you at the game? I think you've kind of said you did there, that you would,
yes.
You would be. Yeah.
Yes, Sam, yeah.
Okay. Well, enjoy, mate. Enjoy. Anybody listening who's going, hope you also enjoy the game. If you're following along on the club website, then, get your first taste of Granite Shatter and a Sunderland shirt. That's going to be nice, isn't it? So make sure you tune in. Like I say, we'll be back with pods after this one. We'll catch you later.
This podcast is part of the Sports Social Podcast Network.